Hey everyone, it's Rosalind. I am so glad you're here. I've had some requests to have a garden tour of the cottage garden. We are in northern Indiana, growing zone 5B, middle of June, and things have just started flushing out and looking beautiful. So I thought I would come out here and show you what's blooming. This is my favorite corner of the cottage garden, so I thought this is where we would start the tour. In a recent video, we put in this garden path. This is actually our cut flower garden, and we grow some vegetables in here as well. All along the edges of the cut flower garden is where I have the cottage garden. Now in here we have a crabapple tree, and in the front, this is an echinacea that came up in a flower bed by itself, so I transplanted it in here. But I have a miniature rose. Right behind it is some pincushion that's kind of trailing over into the pathway. There's some phlox. This is a panicle hydrangea and some agastache that has just started back here. You can see it's just starting to come into bloom. Some lavender right there and some daisies, Shasta daisies, and then a little miniature rose right there. As you walk into the pathway, right behind the pincushion, this is called obedient plant or false dragon head. It's actually in the mint family, so it does spread quite a bit. But that's the beauty of a cottage garden. You let things naturalize and spread, and then if a plant pops up in a place that you don't want it, you can always pull it out. Right behind the obedient plant, there's a hibiscus, a hardy hibiscus. The clematis has started blooming, some more Shasta daisies. And this is an Emily Bront David Austin rose. I only have one bloom left on it, but just look at it. Oh my goodness, this rose is so beautiful. And then back up a little bit. I have some speedwell growing right there, some catmint, gladiolas, sedum back there. And then this is, I have to think a little bit, coreopsis. It takes a while to fill in, but you can see this kind of naturalizes as well. I have some daylilies that are coming, yarrow, some Russian sage back there, bee balm, and one poppy left in bloom. Poppies are almost done, but you have to see this flower. Oh, it's beautiful. Right in front of the poppy, there's some more Shasta daisies. Have our little garden shed here, filled with supertunias and euphorbia. I'm going to swing around to the back side of this flower bed. So we have some rudbeckia that is almost starting to bloom. Some phlox that aren't in bloom yet. Back here, there's some butterfly weed and daisies. Behind the little garden shed, this is a tree peony and some foxglove that I had started from seed. Some more phlox and a red twig dogwood. Some more daylilies, some more yarrow, and a rose that I had just recently planted. Oh my goodness, isn't that beautiful? This is a Lichfield Angel David Austin rose. Some more phlox that are going to be blooming soon, and the delphinium. Oh my goodness. They are in their full glory right now. Back there's some penstemon and some daisies that are getting ready to bloom. Right behind the delphinium is a butterfly bush that gets beautiful purple blooms in the middle to late summer. And back here, some sage that is starting to bloom, some more bee balm, and I'm not going to go over to the birdhouse. We have some tree swallows nesting in there, and they're feeding their babies right now. This is our grape arbor in front of the chicken coop. On this side of the grape arbor, I have some baby's breath back there, and then I have some strawberries right in there. And behind the birdhouse is just some lilies, some alliums that are starting to bloom. See if I can get close without getting pecked on the head by the birds. Aren't those beautiful right now? In front of the chicken coop, I still have some pansies in that flower pot, but the honeysuckle is still in bloom, looking beautiful. This is the chicken coop flower bed, but I thought I would give you a little update on this. Hydrangea has just started blooming. This is an incredible hydrangea. And back here is some proudberry coral berries. And there's some herbs in here, agastache, and the supertunias in front. Behind the cut flower garden, there's some sunflowers that are starting to fill in. This is all of our vegetables, and over here is all of our cut flowers that we use for our cut flower farm. This garden is only 2 years old, so actually just last spring I started developing this side of the garden. So the plants are still very young. It's not filled in yet. But over here I have a Rose of Sharon. Rose of Sharon doesn't bloom until mid to late summer. But this spring I planted a peony right in front of it, Sarah Bernhardt peony. This is the fairy garden that I planted in just a recent video. And on both sides of it, there's a butterfly flower. We have a 9-bark right there and a miniature Joe Pye weed. This isn't supposed to spread like the old Joe Pye weed, but oh, I love those blooms. We have a Brandywine viburnum, some alliums that are out of bloom, baptisia in front of that, and then I have a few peonies in here. A lot of these I use for my cut flowers, so that's why you're going to see a lot of peonies in here. I have a lilac right there, and right behind it there's some lilies, some iris, and some sedum right in front. Some more lilies. And this, I can't even think what it's called. It's a ground cover. I actually got a few starts off of this plant, and I have one there and one there. Because I love seeing a ground cover in the cottage garden or in any garden. There's a few more peonies back there, some more speedwell, and catmint that the bees absolutely love. I have some lilies in bloom and a lemony lace elderberry. Some more lilies, another peony back there. Hibiscus is coming in. Maybe we can see it better from this side. The sun is kind of interfering with the camera. Then I have a creeping phlox in front. There's a grass, lily, another clematis that isn't blooming yet, hydrangea, and this is some more penstemon. The bees also love that one. A few more poppies in bloom. I have a little garden bench back there and another crabapple in this corner. Hibiscus, some alliums that are blooming, and a poppy that I started from seed. Aren't these gorgeous? They're just huge. And this one reseeded itself from last year as well as that one. But the poppies are done blooming, but there's these beautiful seed heads left. There's a garden phlox right there. I have a knockout rose back there. It's still very tiny. Grass, peony, Russian sage, and look at this gorgeous clematis. Oh my goodness. I trimmed this thing back like down to 12 inches and it grew like crazy. It obviously loved that trim. So I have some more Russian sage, peony, grass, and another rose. And this is some serendipity alliums. You can see that they're starting to bud up in there. Not blooming yet. I have a little evergreen right there, the lilies, more alliums that are out of bloom, and another David Austin rose. Give you a closer look on these blooms. They're beautiful. Oh, I just love a David Austin rose. Have some more daylilies that aren't blooming yet. Another panicle hydrangea, another penstemon that isn't blooming yet. And then these are some black-eyed Susans. And you guys, that is it for today's garden tour. I hope it's been fun and inspiring for you to see all the things that are blooming in my cottage garden. If you grow a cottage garden flower that you haven't seen in my own garden, please drop it in the comments below. I love adding new plants and new perennials to the garden all the time. Thank you for being here today. I will see you in the next video. Bye.